Dr. Elmer, Advanced Neurospinal Solutions, and we're still talking about autoimmune disorder. Today we're talking about how do we take care of it? What do we do? The traditional therapies, because it causes inflammation, right? We called it that instead of inflammation, because it's the inflammatory response. The body always reacts the same way against all kinds of tissue injury or bacteriological or external source. If you go to get surgery and get cut, and then they sew you up, and we're assuming that you're going to get well. The surgeon would not cut you open if he didn't feel faith that it was going to heal, that it would go back together. And so he has a great trust in that whole process of the body actually doing the work. So we've got the story that we talked about, and that story gives us some clarity about autoimmune that allows us to understand how we can take care of it. If the system changes to the point where we no longer have control over the immune system, and if the cells go rogue, then we've got the potential for us attacking ourselves. What would be happening before that? Usually there's a lot of allergies or insensitivities because the system is no longer trusting of what it sees. If it's not me, then it's probably an enemy. Even though it might be as simple as something that you would normally eat. You're eating a certain food and now all of a sudden I can't eat that anymore. It just really tears me up, right? And so in looking at autoimmune and seeing the different aspects of it, it becomes clear the closer you get to the truth, the simpler the solution is. We're going to have to go in and support the cells that need the help. Now this already assumes that I'm also working with the brain, particularly the right side of the brain, to boost it up, to get it so that it can refine all these activities, and to work with the brainstem so that the brainstem can control the automated systems that control the immune system. All of that function is something that would already be being worked with. But the T regulators are the generals. If you don't get those handled, it's going to be melee on the battlefield. Those cells are going to do whatever they want. They're going rogue. So the way we do that is we support the T regulators with vitamin D, and it's a larger dose that patients would normally be taking. I normally hear often, as we're doing the work with autoimmune patients, my doctor says this is too much. And I say, well, it is too much for somebody like me, but I don't have an autoimmune. Your T regulators are sucking up that vitamin D, so it's not accumulating in your body. It'd be a lot like running 3 marathons a day, and you're eating avocados like they're going out of style. Are you going to get fat? No, because you are using those fats to run 3 marathons a day, and that's an example from Stu Middleman. He used to do that when he'd run multiple marathons a day, like he was running across the United States, or running 1,000 miles in just a few weeks. Totally crazy stuff. I don't understand it, but that whole concept is when you have T regulator problems and you give it vitamin D, it uses the D to do its job. Once we've found that level of vitamin D, that's the level that patient's going to be using for the rest of their life. Then we're going to figure out, is it a Th1 or a Th2 that is high? Remember that the Th1s are the cellular response, the T helpers, T chemotoxics, and T killers, whereas the Th2 is the B cell antibody response. and we're going to use a way, and we call it phase 2. In phase 2, we're going to use a way to boost to the Th2, and if we boost it and it's already high, it's going to make the autoimmune worse. Yes, we're going to make it worse. And as we make it worse, we know, okay, the Th2 system is too high, and so then we take it away, and it gets better. We've just shown in 2 directions that is a high Th2. Then we come over here and we use a botanical to boost the Th1, and as we boost it, wow, it feels better, and then we take it away and it feels worse. We know in 2 directions that is a low Th1. So then we can give the botanicals list for Th1 with confidence. And so when we do that, then we're going to go through each one of those botanicals, and we're going to go through the same process that we did with the vitamin D to find out the level and to determine what we need to do for the rest of our lives. And once we've gone through every single one of those individually, then we're going to find the ones that work the best, and then we're going to try those as a cocktail and see if they work as a cocktail or if we have to separate them. That's the process of supporting the immune system. And it's just the opposite with a low Th2, because then if we determine in 4 directions that it's a low Th2, then we're going to give a list of botanicals that support the Th2 system. This is all from what we call pharmacognia. Pharmacognia is where we take research, pharmaceutical research, that determines what is going on, what is the problem in a pathology. And we're going to take that technology and we're going to use it to tell us, we're going to go over and look at botanicals, which are herbs. We're going to look at herbs. We're going to say, okay, this is a problem with the NMDA receptors in the spinal cord. Say, okay, well, here are 4 different botanicals that work with the NMDA receptors in the spinal cord. What they're doing in medicine is they're saying, okay, we need to do something with the NMDA receptors, and they design a pharmaceutical for it. And we're taking that same research and saying, let's see if we can do it with a botanical instead. Or if we do it with a botanical, it doesn't work, and we're going to need to go with the pharmaceutical. Or let's say we're going to use a combination of the 2 to get the best outcome. So that's how we operate, and that's how, like I say, the closer you are to the truth, the simpler the solution. And I'm hoping that made things a little bit more clear on how we take care of that. So if you have any other questions, please let us know, and we're here when you're ready to take your life back.